But I should say to you that the first rule of neurodifferences is that you can talk about anything. So this channel is not about well, I'm trying to make this channel as much about authenticity as possible. Because like, you know, you think of Joe Rogan and podcasts like that. Joe Rogan doesn't have a filter, and he's on 300K followers. So if he doesn't if it's anything goes on his show, then it's anything goes on mine. Because as you know, ultimate goal, emulate Joe Rogan. But anyway, I do apologize. I'm yappering on.
Maybe emulate someone else. Be your own person.
Sorry?
Be your own person. Emulate someone else. Emulate you.
That is true. For everybody just joining us, I do confess the ultimate goal of Neurodifference to raise awareness of neurodivergent conditions to literally as big of an audience as possible. Hence the ambition to get to 300K. Thank you ever so much for joining us on today's podcast. It is my pleasure to introduce my my friend Veronica Dray. Veronica, welcome to Neurodifference.
Oh, thank you for having me. Good to see you again.
You too. Before we go into the personal stuff about neurodivergent conditions, could you so I know Veronica through playing quadball. As many people may know, sport modelled on Harry Potter's Quidditch. Literally, me and Veronica met because it was my lifelong ambition to play Quidditch in Japan. Went over to Japan, played a Quidditch tournament, and Veronica was one of the nicest people there, and she was actually able to put up with me yappering on for God knows, for Buddha knows how long. So
I'm great hanging out with you.
Veronica, could you tell us about what led you into quadball and the importance of it for awesome neurodivergent people to play sports like it? So yeah.
So for quadball, it's a mix of dodgeball, it's a mix of netball, it's a mix of lots of different sports all together, flag belt. It can be physical if you want to take it that way, but also me, I generally just play as a wing player on the side and do a sneaky, hi, you didn't see me, and then just score from behind the hoops. So I just go for the, I guess, ninja stealth. But sport is really important in terms of getting moving, in terms of social connection. But also, I really, really love quadball because it's a community. And surprisingly enough, it's full of other people that also like this community. So it's full of queer people, it's full of autistic people, it's full of any kind of people, it's full of people from different countries all meeting together. Australia being a very multicultural place full of lots of different people as well. And basically, the point of quadball is inclusivity and playing a fun sport at the same time. You can take it competitive as you want. Some people are going states, some people are doing international with the Drop Bears and the World Cup and Aurora Australis. Me, I do the Asian Quidditch Cup every now and again because I absolutely love it and it's a social factor. And also, I love playing for my Brisbane clubs, but I originally started with the Perth club that I founded.
Wow. What was it like starting at the Perth club, and could I ask as well, you tell us a bit more about your background and your diagnoses as well?
Yeah. So I'll just start on the quadball. So I did start back in 2014 when I'm like, well, someone sporty should give this a go. And I'm like, hang on, I'm not sporty, but I really want this to happen. So I got a few other people that are like, oh, we should get this to happen. And we got it off the ground. And it was really fun doing that at ECU, Edith Cowan Uni in Perth. And it allowed me to go to different places and travel. And I met my husband playing this sport. In terms of me, my diagnosis, so I was born preemie in Sydney about 3 months early. So I was born at 26 weeks and I was a tiny little scrawny thing. And they were preparing me for dying because they're like, this little preemie baby isn't going to live. Her sister's already passed after 12 hours. But no, I kept living. Was in hospital for quite a few months and got me up to more of a weight. Still with a pelvic harness and oxygen and everything. But because I was so preemie, they had to do a lot of checks on me. I went to the podiatrists and doctors often to make sure I was doing okay. And through schooling and everything else like that, my parents noticed that there was something different about me, I guess. So they ended up having to fly me over to Sydney, and I was told that I was going to be visiting my grandparents. And I did, which was great because I liked seeing my grandparents. I hadn't seen them in ages. But also while we were there, we went and saw some doctors and they did some testing. I remember vividly. There was this short-haired lady and she had some cubes and they were red and white, and they did some sort of a test then. They asked me about facial expressions, and it was a lot of testing as well. I didn't think anything of it. But then I went to do more stuff in the Perth Hills. We saw more doctors and everything because obviously it's not a one-off thing. It takes a while to get a diagnosis. And then I got told by my parents in the car that I had the umbrella term autism. And at the time, it was known as Asperger's, what I had, but I knew that I had autism. And I had little chapter books to read, something about a genie, other things. And I didn't like these characters because for me, these characters were all boys. And I'm like, uh. Because I didn't really have girl representation. And the way that the socialization of females and males in autism can be quite vast as well. Because girls, they explained, generally adapt and camouflage and chameleon in as best they can. And for some reason, I'm not sure what it is, but they can mimic a bit better. That's a generalization, but that's just what I was told back in the day. Obviously, I was still an outcast and getting bullied and all that kind of thing. But it was kind of funny in high school. I had a friend and she was going around and she's like, she has asparagus syndrome. It was the funniest. Back then, it was horrifying and mortifying, but now I'm like, that's really funny. But yeah, I definitely struggled socially. I did my best, but anyway, I found some lovely friends. And I also got diagnosed with general anxiety disorder. I think it was in year 9 or something then. And there was court cases and things going on with custody. So there's lots of things happening, a lot of accumulation of things. I got extra time on my testing, 10 minutes, I think, for every hour. And my peers were really jealous and were like, why does she get that? And I had to do my year 11, 12 exams, I think, at a nearby school, which was interesting. It's just like everyone else is doing their testing, and I'm just at this neighboring suburb doing doing these exams in this little quiet room, and it's like, all right. But yeah, for me, I've had a few diagnoses. I've got PTSD. Unfortunately, in my early 20s, there was just a lot of events happening with my parents, with a few guys. Things happened, but the thing is with the counselling that I have sought, and it was great having Headspace, which was a free service available for those under the age of 25. But some people are hit and miss in terms of counselling, and some are great, and some are like, I don't know what to do with you. You're really resilient. You're the most resilient person I know. You're very self-aware. What do we do with you? And then they put me with an autism specialist, and she treated me like a child because she'd worked with autistic children. And she was reading me the storybook and everything. And I was trying to see the benefit and trying to see her perspective, because her background was helping kids with autism. And I'm like, there's bits of gleams of help here. I just, the way she's treating me, she doesn't know how to treat an adult. So things can be hit and miss. And what I
Very,
yeah.
it's very shocking. Because you'd think, yeah, if she's dealt with many autistic people, you'd think this woman knows her stuff about autism. So why is she treating why would she be treating me this way? I reckon you're definitely not alone in that kind of experience. Me myself personally, I once went for a PIP interview with personal independence payments. Is one of the benefits of that you can get here in the United Kingdom if you've got a registered disability, which technically autism is kind of like classed as a disability. I think on a previous podcast I've kind of like highlighted about is autism a disability? It can be, in my heart and mind. I think it can be considered one, but only in sort of like select circumstances. But anyway, so I digress. So yeah, going for an interview. The registered paramedic said to my mum, I don't need to know about his autism. I just need to know what's wrong with him.
My God, what a wording. Yeah, people in the health sector can be really great, or they can just not be.
Yeah, sorry. You'd have thought as a paramedic she would have dealt with autistic people in the past, more than likely. So, but to hear your story, that is shocking. Because no flip. So in terms of in terms of like your experience of sort of services like that, if that makes sense, did experiences like that teach you about what what the best kind of service should do and how it should assist autistic people? Do you reckon?
I guess in a way, because I mean, the experiences I've had has taught me what I don't like and what society can treat me as. But what I do love is that over the past 10, 20 years, not only do we know that girls are autistic, because I mean, back in my day, I had to hand to teacher what autism was, because they didn't know back when I was through schooling, because I was born in 95. It was really new that, hey, a girl could be autistic. So handing in those packets of paperwork every year to the teacher. But I like that there's more knowledge out there. And if I don't like something, I'll straight up say, hey, you're not treating me like the right way. You're not listening to me. And I call people out. And if they're great, they'll take on my feedback. If they're not, they'll just continue on their own path and their own trajectory. And I'm like, no, I don't need to deal with this person. But people in authority, the health sector, even the police, without disclosing diagnosis, the way they treat women as well, um, things need an overhaul. But autism especially, we're so vulnerable.
I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. And that can be the case. That can be the case in the UK as well as Australia. And I think experiences like that, they just make me so thankful that there are communities out there like the quadball community. And on Neurodifference, our channel is about empowering neurodivergent people. And could I ask, what is it about quadball playing and being a part of the community that empowers you as a neurodivergent person? I'd imagine it could be very, very empowering. As you mentioned, you met Liam. By the way, I know. Hello, Liam. If you're, hope you're watching this. I can imagine, meeting your husband through the community must have been a very empowering experience.
Yeah, especially being on different sides of the country and then just by chance meeting in Malaysia. But look, I tried to quit quadball and I was like, you know what? After my marriage, we've had our honeymoon in Japan. After my marriage, I'll just take a little bit of time off and then I'll come back for the second half of this year. But no, I was like, no, I got to come back. And then I was back first half of the year, straight back. I'm like, I missed everybody. So it is really, really empowering just to be socializing with people. We've got people of all genders. We've got non-binary. We've got trans people. We've got female, male people, whichever way. We've got just so many people that you can just click with, and it's brilliant. So sometimes we take it really seriously and we're like, yeah, we got to win and other things like that. But sometimes we just have a laugh. Like, I played beta and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then I'm like, oh, this guy is so scary. We played a scratchy match, and this guy was taking all us on, basically. It was like a one-man show. There was a team behind him, but because he was such a great beater, with his dodgeball, he was pretty much keeping everyone back, and we're trying to go up against him. And it's like, no, he's so scary. He wasn't actually like scary. He was just really good with control with that dodgeball. But yeah, it's fun getting out there, and it's just empowering. Just get out of the house rather than just reading a book or watching TV or something, and just socializing, having fun, having a bit of a laugh. And yeah, just playing a strategic game. I love it.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. For me, it combines two of my favorite sports. I love rugby union and I love football. You mark people like you do in
Yeah.
well, you've got tackling from rugby union. For me, quad ball was a way of sort of re-engaging with my rugby roots. And I think for me, yes, it might be based on a fictional sport, but it just goes so much further than that. When I'm on the pitch, sorry, yeah, go on.
Oh, I was just saying it. I was adding it's just dynamic.
Yeah, no. When I'm on that pitch, I feel like I'm a boy watching a Welsh rugby match again. Growing up in Wales, rugby unions. It's what Wales still does. It's what we're about. And just playing quad ball reminds me of those days were. And I don't know if I told you, but I was at the World Cup in Belgium, and
I saw
watching
you on
watch
TV.
sorry.
I saw you on TV in the crowd. It was great.
uh, yeah, no, oh gosh, it was, it was so much, fun. And I'm always saying to my girlfriend, yeah, we gotta go to a quad ball tournament, whether I'm playing, whether I'm watching, or helping out. It um it is defo on our to-do list to attend a quad ball event. And if anybody is watching who is not aware of what quad ball is, and it's a wacky sport.
Not
um
anymore.
Sorry. Oh.
Not anymore. Stop those broomsticks being all bristly and.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, obviously there are the comparisons to Quidditch in the Harry Potter sport, but it is just so much more than that. And I implore you to learn about the game, especially if you're interested in football and rugby union, because combines those two, doesn't it? You mark people in Quidditch, and you tackle, and
Yeah,
you've
I
also
don't go for that tackling.
oh, don't knock yourself. I think you're a very, very good tackler. And I do have a body of evidence of that fact. I do remember us playing in Japan. That was uh that was that that was a great weekend. That was.
It was very fun
It's
tournament.
To be fair. I miss I miss you, Liam. I miss Liam's humor. It's just Liam's right laugh. To be honest, that social was awesome too, wasn't
And
it?
then we're kicked out with the celebrations with the I think it was the Vietnamese team and their loud chanting, and then the Aussies joining in with the loud chanting and the shoeies and
Drinking games as well.
yeah,
Oh. I'm not big into drinking myself, but it was fun to it was fun to watch. And that that Japanese restaurant, we were so loud. They wanted to get us. They were like, quiet. It just no. Oh,
pictures and the Vietnam celebration and the Aussie celebration, and Japanese generally are more reserved and quiet. So I guess we could have been a little bit more quiet that time. We just forgot our senses.
we need to campaign for like loud, loud bars in
Maybe that's on
uh,
Australia off that next match, maybe.
or absolutely. And on that topic, I have heard rumors that Australia is looking to host either the next APQC, whether that be with national teams or club teams, as well. I don't suppose I could be very, very cheeky and ask, are there any kind of like more than substantial rumors that APQC might be coming to Australia?
Not quite sure. We've got a very similarly named AQCC, which is Australian Quadball Club Championships. So that's our end of year massive tournament for the Australians. That's being held in Melbourne, 28th November. And we've got the City of Melbourne that I believe is helping sponsorship or something, and Little Drifters as well, which would be, it's fantastic to have that collaboration.
Yeah, no, and Drifters is a fantasy tournament, or
A Little
is it?
is the name of the hostel chain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
um,
mandatory stay and play, so you have to, as part of the package, you have to stay at Little Drifters, which is amazing to have that backing.
I'd imagine the parties at Little Drifters must be something to behold. Here's me giving a hint of my partying lifestyle. I love to be the guy who collects all the stories, just so everybody knows. Instead of the guy that gets who dances on um, um, although in saying that, I have danced on a few tables in my time. But please don't tell anybody about that. Go for it. It's fine. Um, in addition to playing APQC, you traveled Japan. Could you tell us more about what that was like as a neurodivergent person, and please keep it shy on the um, uh, drunk stories. Nah.
I didn't get drunk. I just had like alcohol the whole trip, I think. But yeah, we did the Golden Triangle route. My husband and I, we did a honeymoon before the wedding. And so what we did is we had an Excel spreadsheet and we just combined, looked at it, and we just was on the computer or on our phones, just adding to it. I don't know what I guess to say about like my experience compared to someone else's experience, but for me, what worked is planning everything out. So we had our accommodations sorted, and we had a list of where we're going what day. We had a list of potential ideas for some days because we knew that we couldn't get to everything, and some days we'd be too tired. So we're like, okay, well, what's the top of the list we want to do? And then what we did is we looked at a potential idea. And we're like, okay, are we exhausted to do this or can we do it? So we had backups sorted because it's important to plan for rest. Um, but we went to a place called Akihabara, which is known as Electric Town. And I didn't really know what I was walking into. It just escaped me. But I was told I pretty much had to go there. Anyway, it was hell. So it's called Electric Town. There is neon lights. I've been to Vegas, but this was something else. With Vegas, I knew what I was expecting, but this one you had women coming with maid costumes on every street corner, being like, "Come to my cafe, come to my cafe," and I'm like, "Liam, let's go." And Liam's like, "Are you sure?" Anyway, we ended up going to one, and I'm like, "Oh, this wasn't what I thought it was." We walked back out. But just the lights and the sounds, it was really overwhelming. But then we found the Square Enix Cafe and it was in the train station itself, and that was just a bit of serenity in Akihabara. So I guess look into where you're going, and if it's going to be called Electric Town, maybe that means something. But yeah, we just tried to take things at our own pace. I love animals. We went to the zoo. I might be pronouncing this wrong. At Reno. So that was really fun. We did a few museums and other things as well. But yeah, just trying to wander around and not have everything as jam packed as it could be. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more with you about Akihabara. I believe it. I don't know. I heard that name. But Akihabara. Um, um, uh, tomato, as I like to as I like to say. but yeah, no, couldn't agree more with you. It sensory wise, it's very demanding, isn't it? Uh, um, yeah, it's um, yeah, no, yeah, no, the bright neon lights. I'd say that was the biggest challenge for me personally. Um, in saying that, I did love being there because a massive video game player, and went to a few gaming stores. Really wanted to get a Nintendo 64 or a GameCube. Self confession to viewers, I am a nerd. Um,
We all are.
Which I couldn't bring it home. I couldn't bring it home. I couldn't bring one home.
What about
Oh, sorry.
what about eBay or your Gumtree equivalent?
Oh, I yeah, true. Yeah. Damn it. I should have bought one. Down.
True.
Japanese console. Could have sold one on eBay. Um, I'll remember that for next time. Thank you, pal. But yeah, no, yeah, Akihabara was, yeah, sensory wise, it was very demanding and loud. Yeah, it is very loud, isn't it? Yeah, no, uh, I found there were some lovely pet cafes in Shinjuku. Did you ever get to Shinjuku by any chance?
I didn't go to Shinjuku, but we went to Kyoto and Osaka. And there was a Bengal cat cafe combined with an owl cafe. And as lovely as that sounds, it wasn't. I think their animal rights, animal cruelty laws and guidelines are a bit behind Australia. So all these owls were, I don't know if they were cable tied or something, but they were really confined by their legs, and they had these bright lights, and it was daytime, and they were made to be awake during this time. It was horrible. The Bengal Cat Cafe, I'm not sure. It seemed like the animals were okay there, but I don't know much. I
Mm.
went to uh, there was a model train one. That was actually really well run because that's designed as a shelter. So it's designed in conjunction with animal rights, and they're really stringent about it. They do what they can, they rotate the animals out. The enrichment is knocking over the model trains, and that's the entertainment. So that was really well done. But
Yeah,
yeah, things.
that's yeah, no, that's very important that that the animals are properly taken care of. Um,
Mm,
to be honest, I um, yeah, it's very be very interesting to sort of like see um what how animal shelters are supposed to treat animals. So thank you for highlighting that because many neurodivergent people um, have a very close bond with animals.
mm,
Uh, I myself was very close with my cat uh, growing up. Uh, I'll show you a photo someday. I've got so many photos on my phone. Take forever, and um, uh, yeah, no, and I'm sure you don't want to see like loads of photos, but show you another day.
so
Um, I just kind
um,
of want. Yeah, yeah. um, Another thing that this channel is about, in addition to raising awareness of any kind of social issue, is overcoming challenges. Um, what challenges did you face traveling Japan, and what enabled you to smash through them? Like, well, a bludger smashing through a broomstick, a fictional bludger, might I add, kind of thing. You highlighted, being prepared, knowing where your hotel, knowing where your hotel was, and stuff like that. Could you maybe give me a few more examples of how you overcame challenges in traveling Japan, or indeed anywhere else?
I've been to every single Asian Quidditch Cup. I've been to the Malaysia one, I've been to the Vietnam one twice, and I've been to the South Korean one and obviously the Japan one. Um, when I met my husband, he met me because I got very lost, and they were like, "Where is she? She's by herself in a foreign country, and she's not at the hotel that we're meeting at. Can someone go find her?" So that's how Liam knew who I was. But it does not help when things are named the same, except one's a West End and one's an East End, and they're like 200 meters from each other. But for me, Google Maps is amazing because it works all over. I think it's an Australian invention, which is awesome. But it works offline if you pre-download it. Even if you're, for example, in South Korea, if you're comparing the squiggles or the train stations that you need to go to, I'm like, that matches this sign, that'll do. But yeah, you can look at when the buses and the trains are coming and all those kind of things. You can look at how far the train station is to your accommodation. You can look at how far a destination is. So pre-looking at that one, having your accommodation on an online portal or printed out in front of you, having your spreadsheets or your paperwork. You definitely need to have your visas prepared if you need that. Go to your doctor. Make sure you've got their recommendations as well if you need those kind of things. If medication is or isn't allowed, because sometimes they're like, no, you can't have this, and that can be a bit of a problem. But yeah, make sure you're prepared. Sometimes bring earplugs because for me, I found out that I need specialized flight ones because it isn't normal to be screaming in agony on a plane or hyperventilating in agony on a plane. Flight earplugs are a lifesaver for me because it means I'm not in agony and my ears don't generally pop by themselves or with anything I do. So at least this relieves the pressure. But yeah, if you find something that works for you, um, bring something to give yourself that respite and rest. So on my phone, I have pre-downloaded things from Netflix. I have pre-downloaded books, um, Sudokus, puzzles, something like that. So if you can find a way to give yourself a break, because yeah, traveling's fun, but you've also got to give yourself that rest as well.
Absolutely. Thank I think it's all about like planning for those stressful parts in traveling, which could include ears popping on a plane, or if you're on a long flight, preparing to sleep. I can't go anywhere without my earplugs. My brain processes like pretty much every sound around, so it's very difficult to get some sleep. And when you're about to go on a 13-hour flight, it's you need sleep. Sleep is important.
I love the long flights because I'm like, I can watch all these movies, I can read my books, I can have little naps. Where for you're like 13-hour flight. No.
Now, it just helps you to relax, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And just kind of make the journey as easy as possible. And I can't I can't thank you enough for giving advice. I'll have to get you back for another podcast on forming a to-do list for neurodivergent travelers. Perhaps I'm hoping that can get a lot of traction. To be honest, growing the channel ever so important, and travel. Travel is traveling is something I've always wanted to kind of go into myself. Because believe it or not, I've before I went to Japan, I'd never done anything like this. Just myself. I literally went to Japan by myself. I've never done anything like that in my life. I've never gone as far. The first time that I was ever on a plane by myself, I was about 27 years of age. Always went with my family. So, Japan was like it was it was something I was completely not used to. I was by myself. I only had myself to rely on if ever I got lost and stuff like that. So I can really relate to your story of the way that you and Liam met, because that would have been me. I probably would have been lost myself. But yeah, um, a subject for another podcast, perhaps. I've always been encouraged to go more into what my Japan trip was, like, and yeah, it would be awesome to get yourself, Liam, and another guest on here to talk about the trials and triumphs of traveling, if you and Liam would be up for that.
Great.
Um, um, but I can't thank you enough for coming onto the podcast. Just wanted to kind of like conclude with a few shout outs. Massive big up to pretty much every quadball team in Australia, especially the team in Brisbane, which I believe is the Reds. Sorry.
The Dumblebees, we're the best.
Big shout out to the Dumblebees Quidditch team, quadball team. Apologies. Shout out to the Dumblebees quadball team, Quadball Australia as well. Congratulations on finishing third at the World Cup, and a massive shout out to the likes of Liam. Matt Blissenden, Kelsey Collins, Paige Collins, and Elizabeth May. Hope you guys hope you're all watching. Veronica, would you like to give any shout outs to anyone?
I guess all the shout outs to all the lovely quadball people that I've met. I don't know if you know this, but I love the Vietnam team. They are my favorite team in the world. They're so friendly. The Draco Dormians, I support them all the time. They do their fundraisers. I'm like, me, I'll help you out.
Big up Van and Lynn. Big up Van and Lynn.
Yes.
Go and Lynn, Guyen. Such great people. Big shout out to them. Sorry. Go on.
No, it's fine. We bounce off each other. But yeah, I really enjoy quadball. I really enjoy talking with you. I guess if you want to know more about travel,
in quadball Japan as well. Tokyo Penguins all the way.
And the seals, they're great. Or sea lions,
and the sea lions. There's so many to mention. If we haven't delivered a shout out, we do apologize. Well, actually, I know how to cover that. Big shout out to every quadball team there is in the world. There, boom, covered. Woo, did it. Completed it! Yay! Also wanted to mention the fact I've got a quad ball demonstration organised in the town of Petalbert weekend after next. So hopefully a lot of people coming to that because we need to revive quad ball in Wales. Hopefully we'll get there. So Veronica, thank you so much for staying up. I do realize, flipping heck, it's nearly quarter to midnight where you are. Would that be correct, or is it nearly quarter to 11?
No, I'm in Brizzy. It's about 8:45, and that's okay. I can sleep in tomorrow. I start at 11 a.m. instead of 6:30 a.m. I'll be right.
Awesome, awesome. So awesome. Speaking with you, and I think say this for all my viewers when I say that you are that you are somebody making a very positive neuro difference in the world. Thank you so much for coming on the channel.
Thank you. Goodbye. Catch you
Bye.
later.